Welcome everyone to the Art of Gracious Living. Today I've got a really special pair of boots to review here. These are a pair that arrived recently. They're a boot that was made by WESCO out of Scappoose, Oregon, and they are a classic old-time Pacific Northwest boot maker. They've been in business since 1918, and they collaborated with Ironheart. So this is the WESCO and Ironheart collaboration boot. They call it the Guildsman, and it comes in British tan domain leather, which is a pull-up leather. And pull-up leather is leather that is highly saturated with oils, and if you push on it or pull up a section of it, it will distribute the oils a little bit to the side, so you can see how it's lighter where I'm pushing it up, and then just a few thumb strokes will redistribute that oil back. So it's a really characterful leather. It takes on a great patina. It's just a gorgeous material for a pair of really terrific boots. These are handmade, hand-lasted, top quality. You really can't beat WESCO or any of the Pacific Northwest major makers. WESCO, Whites, Nicks, JKs. They all make boots for life. These are built buy it for life type boots. Really the epitome of American quality and craftsmanship. They call it, I'm just going to read here from their website. This is from the Ironheart website. And of course, Ironheart is the famous denim company that really was the one who introduced the heavyweight denims, the 22s and 24 ounces. These were originally designed to wear while motorcycle riding. So they're just super heavy, bulletproof denim. And they take a fade just beautifully. They're really works of art to wear. And so it was cool that they hooked up with WESCO to put their design chops to work together to come up with something cool like this boot. It dropped in late 2023. It's a 7-inch lace-up toe cap boot. It was made on the WESCO's what they call their M95 last, which used to be called the Hendrick last. And in fact, this boot is based on WESCO's Hendrick design. They call it the Guildsman, formerly known as the Alex. And it's a custom collaboration between Alex Padmore of Ironheart International and Chris Warren of WESCO Boots. It's what they call British tan, and it's got a little broguing here on the cap. So it's a cap toe with broguing. And the broguing makes it only slightly more formal looking, only slightly more like a dress boot. But it really does not give much of a dress boot vibe. It's a nice in-between. You could wear these with jeans, you could wear them with slacks, you could wear them really to any workplace. I wouldn't hesitate to, wear them in an office environment. And you can do lots with this leather. You can just let it patina, which is what would be my preference, because I would be wearing them with jeans primarily. Or you could, with a little bit of care, keep them looking, if not highly polished, but very neat and original for a long time. In fact, you could polish these to a high shine if you wanted to, but that would be a bit of a shame. I don't recommend that. Obviously, it's smooth out leather, unlined. Let me see if I can show you the inside a little bit here. Beautifully soft, fully gusseted. Look at that. Goes all the way up. This is how you should make boots. I mean, these are really masterclass in boot making. Solid brass eyelets. The upper stitching is kind of a light color brown, and the outsole stitching is a white nylon. There's a pull loop, which is always appreciated. No speed hooks, but they're a low boot, so I did not find that hard to navigate when I tried them on. You can maybe just keep the top one unlaced to make it a little easier to put them on. I mean, you can spread them right out to get them on. I always recommend using a shoe horn, or I like the 3-foot long boot horns that you can get, because it really protects the heel. It protects the boot, and it makes it a lot easier to put these things on. The outsole is a Vibram, number 269. Has a 1-inch heel. This is a thick veg tan midsole. The heel stack is also the same veg tan leather. Stitch gown construction, double stitched, and then to a Goodyear welt through the rest of the boot. Steel shank, of course. These come in size US size 8 to 12, and they come in 2 widths, D, which is your usual standard width, and E, wide. These boots were designed for one thing and one thing only, and that's to look cool with jeans. And boy, they sure do. I think they're just, a great combination to wear a pair of jeans. Your favorite selvedge denim, which I love to wear myself and highly recommend. And some people have complained a little bit about the cost of selvedge denim, and they consider it to be a little elitist. Ironheart is certainly a high-end manufacturer of denim, but it's made to the highest quality in Japanese mills by real denim fanatics. But you can buy selvedge denim really at almost any price point. I highly recommend that you take a look at eBay and just do a search for selvedge jeans. Check the measurements. If they don't have a measurement shown on the photos of the eBay listing, contact the seller and say, hey, can you give me a real measurement on the waist? And I found that actually is more accurate, because you're more likely to actually see a ruler measuring out the width of the waistband. And this is much better than just buying from a website that might have some vague sizing recommendations, because you could actually see the true measurement of the denim. And sometimes it's a little confusing whether, a lot of selvedge denim is misidentified. So you need to use a bit of a critical eye when you're looking at these eBay listings. But you can get a good pair of selvedge denim on eBay for under $50 or around $50. And you can get a terrific, high-end, very thoughtfully designed pair of selvedge denim jeans on eBay for less than $100, which is much less than $100. So there's really no financial argument for skipping the good stuff. Do yourself a favor and buy some selvedge denim, especially if you've got a cool pair of boots like this that are just dying to be worn with the selvedge denim. I'll just give you a little background about what the WESCO Company. They were founded by John Henry Shoemaker, and it was a pure coincidence that his last name was Shoemaker, because he didn't start out as a shoemaker. He just ended up as a shoemaker in the early 1900s, but ended up going into shoemaking by necessity. He learned how to make shoes or make boots in Michigan during the logging boom. The other big Michigan bootmaker, of course, is Wolverine, up in Rockford, Michigan. John Henry Shoemaker worked for another firm in Grand Rapids, which is really only 20 miles away. Then he moved out to the West Coast, and he made his name by delivering boots to logging camps where he dealt with the most demanding customer base that you could possibly imagine. A bunch of loggers who work hard for their money and expect their equipment to last. And in many cases, loggers' lives depend on the quality of their boots. WESCO is still family owned today, and they make some of the most consistent product out there of all the West Coast makers. You could call them slightly more conservative because they do a number of collaborations, but they don't get real wacky with the leathers. Whites, of course, is known for doing some pretty out there wild combinations of leathers with their existing boot designs, but Westco keeps it pretty much, I would call them a little cooler in terms of just following the traditions of their company and the traditions of bootmaking style. So I really like Westco for that. And again, you can't get a better quality product. You just can't. Ironheart, again, the leader in heavyweight Japanese denim, 21 to 25 ounce. They were founded in 2002 by Shinichi Hariki. And Shinichi was an avid motorcyclist. And I first saw Ironheart denim when I was this had to have been 20, 25 years ago when I was in Manhattan. And they were pretty new then, and nobody could believe the weight of these things. I mean, you feel them, and it was almost comical how thick the denim is. Now it's become much more widespread. People accept that heavy denim. They don't think it's unusual so much anymore. And it really was a reasonable substitute for wearing leathers or Kevlar motorcycle gear. I actually crashed my motorcycle wearing a pair of Levi's 501 shrink to fit selvage jeans, and they held up okay, but a twice as thick denim would have done better. But frankly, I recommend Kevlar leather for biking. And these boots would make a great motorcycle boot too. Um, these boots are made for one purpose though, and that's to look cool in jeans, and I have to say they succeeded spectacularly. So, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe, comment, and especially give us a thumbs up. It helps a lot. Take care and goodbye till next week.